I'll record. Okay, hi everybody. So it's Friday, which means it's story day. And I'm so excited. I have Natalie Proudfoot here with me. Natalie has been an Optavia client since October of 2020 and
Mhm.
is now a health coach and sort of paying that gift forward. And I am so excited for you to hear a little more about her story. And that's what we're going to do today. So, hi, Natalie.
Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. I would love to just start with tell us a little bit about life before your health journey began, or go back before where you are now. Tell us
Go
about.
way back. Okay. So my health journey kind of started when I turned 40. Before that, I was always very active, stayed in good shape through running and through just being, an active mom. I wasn't necessarily watching what I ate, but I didn't have to because I could exercise it off. When I turned 40, though, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and went through a long period of treatments and am still on some of the medicines that they put me on. So it's just been a long-term healing process. I gained 30 pounds in 3 months after my surgery and chemo. And so my body just never really recovered. And then I started this loop in my brain of telling myself it could never recover. And so I just stopped really worrying about it. So I ate all the things and I was still pretty active, but certainly my not able to keep up with my weight like I could before. So fast forward many years, moved across the country a couple of times, moved within Indiana a few times, and just all the stress, raising two daughters who are amazing, but teenagers nonetheless at the time. Um, I had put on a lot of extra pounds, so about 50 pounds at that point. I saw some pictures of my friend Jenna, who is our mutual friend, and she looked great. And she told me a little bit about the program. So that's when I got started after 10 years of just not feeling like myself.
Wow. Yeah. So how old were you when you started the program?
I started, well, I was 49. So I guess 9 years.
Okay. Okay. That's amazing. Well, no, I just, some people think I think the older we get, the more
Yeah.
set when you said that loop of like my body can't recover, my body can't
Yes.
be what it was before. Like I think that really sets in, especially as we get to our upper 40s and our 50s and our 60s. So, um,
Yeah. And women, women, I think in particular, are told certain things about our bodies as we age and what to expect, what is not possible, that we're going to gain weight. And I believed all of it.
yeah, I know. I did. Yeah, I hear you. So, okay, tell us. This is awesome. Tell us where you are now and kind of how that journey went for you.
Yeah, so I was on the 5-in-1 plan. Jenna was my coach, my health coach, and I lost 60 pounds in a very, I think, a short amount of time. So I started transition at the end of March, and I have been able to maintain my 60-pound loss. So I'm thrilled. I'm running again, which I couldn't do before because of joint pain, but I don't have joint pain anymore. So I feel incredible.
I love that you've gone back to running and like it's so cool to think like, oh,
Oh,
this is something I used to love doing. And
yeah.
then so life happened and then now it's something that I love again. I love that you've gone back to that. That's so cool.
Well, and one thing I want to share too is there are days when I think that 9-year gap in between from before when I was healthy and active to now when I'm healthy and active, I don't regret those years at all because those were good years. I accomplished a lot personally within my family. I simply didn't feel my best. And, as far as regrets go, that's the only one. It was still a great 9 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember when you had your breast cancer diagnosis and thinking 40 years old. Wait, I didn't think that could happen. And of course,
Yeah.
then I realized how much more common, and often that happens than we want to think. So,
Yeah,
PSA for your mammograms, right?
for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing that Natalie and I have in common is that we both enjoy the Enneagram, and that wisdom that helps you sort of unpack your own life and your own some of your own issues, some of the things that hold you back, but then your gifts to the world too. So
Yeah.
it's a really great wisdom that helps you just look at like all of who you are and not just the great parts, but also the hard parts, and vice versa. So Natalie, you are an Enneagram
I'm a 7.
7. Okay. So I knew that. So I pulled up my description of a 7. I'm going to just read it so that anybody that is not familiar with the Enneagram will kind of understand the lens in which you see the world. And again, these are not good or bad. It just is. This is just the lens in which a 7 would see the world. So a 7 we call the enthusiast. And if you know Natalie, that fits her perfectly. Sevens are sevens are motivated to be positive and avoid pain. Sevens are fun, spontaneous, and adventurous. They desire to be happy, to plan stimulating experiences, and to enjoy life to the full. This motivation leads sevens towards their passion or their vice of gluttony, a belief that enough can never really be enough. And all of this activity is in a pursuit of more is a smokescreen to avoid what sevens really fear, which is an internal world of pain, disappointment, difficulty, or boredom. So I know that was a lot to say, but to boil that down, you
I
would.
want my money back from therapy.
Yeah. Okay, so how would you, to boil that down, sevens are awesome. They are fun. They are spontaneous. They definitely, I love that the 7 sees possibility in everything. A 7 is who you want to travel with and vacation with, and let a 7 plan your next vacation. You will have a great time.
We don't plan, but we do have fun.
That's right. But they're always kind of trying to avoid pain.
Mhm. That is so true. And I think one of the things about Optavia that's been so powerful is having the life book to work through. Because for me, losing the weight, I mean, with this program, of course, it's very easy to do, but thinking about a life beyond and how I'm going to maintain it really requires that, especially for someone like me as a 7, or especially for anyone who is avoiding pain for any reason, whether or not you're a 7. It's just one of those habits we get into. Eating helps us avoid pain. It's a tool we use to avoid pain, when in actuality, it's a really, I like to say it's the world's worst therapist. But,
I like that.
I think I have been on I have been on both ends of the spectrum of the 7, and I have seen the absolute joy of it. And I do see that. But I've also experienced what some of the triggers are for being a 7. And I mean, you mentioned gluttony, and that for sure has been something I've really struggled with. So I think this program works really well with addressing some of these challenges that we all face, whatever our Enneagram number is.
Yeah, and that's why you don't have to know your Enneagram number to know
Mhm.
to have this conversation. But I thought it would be interesting just because I know that we share that in common.
Yeah.
And every Enneagram number kind of has a vice, I guess, as they would call it, or in ancient wisdom they call it a passion, and they sort of line up with the deadly sins, right? So for a 7, it lines up with gluttony.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I have learned about sevens in my research is that sevens are often, and I know this is hard to say, but sevens are often addicted to something to numb the pain. So that
Yeah.
something could be television, food, internet,
Yeah.
drugs, alcohol. I mean, it could be any number of things. Addiction is not always illegal substances. Addiction is
Right.
many, many other types of numbing techniques. So, as a 7, how would you say you kind of already answered this, but let's just kind of go back to it. But how would you say that a 7 should approach a health journey using the gifts of a 7? Using the gifts of a 7, how should you approach a health journey? And then
Mhm.
after that, like, what are some of the things to be cautious about as a 7 in a health journey like what we do?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good question. I think one of the ways that sevens or other Enneagram numbers can look at this journey is just through the lens of possibility and through the lens of, for me, I've got this mantra about hope. Like I'm always saying, hope wins, hope wins. Um, I just posted a story on Facebook about a dress that I bought 11 years ago and loved. And I have moved it 4 times with me. We move a lot. I have moved it 4 times because I really like the dress, but it did not fit me for 9 of those 11 years because I have that hope. And I think that's a 7 trait.
Yeah.
Um, I'm always looking positively toward the future, but like you said, the where I get a little railroaded is I want to say yes to everything, including all the food and all the, you know, having, for me, associating food with fun is such a natural pairing. And I mean, let's face it, we're all up for fun right now. So, it's something that I'm going to have to be really aware of. And it's not just a matter of, what one thing I really love about Dr. A and his coaching is talking about don't rely on willpower. That is not a tool that's going to work super well. And it has not worked well for me. Instead, rely on your habits. And so that's what I've been really focused on. I had no idea that that was a possibility for me because I thought I was a failure for not having willpower. As a 7, I took that very personally. I attributed that, as myself being a failure. And, you know, when you're in that place and yet you want to have hope, you're really torn. So anyway, I think that for me, this journey um, provides both. It provides the joys of being a 7, and then also the awareness that you've got to establish the habits, because the willpower for someone like me is toast.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Like who feels like they have enough willpower for this? No, nobody does. And so that's so
Yeah.
good to remember, like,
Yeah.
to just keep the habits in play. And that's what I always am encouraging people as they go on their vacations and they're in
Yeah.
plan. It's okay. Just stick with your habits. Enjoy your vacation and do your habits. Like, it's not
Yes.
one or the other. It's like you can have
Yeah.
both. And
Yes.
it's really, really comforting, I would think, too.
It is.
Because I hate that thought of like, oh, I'm a failure because I don't have willpower. No,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Okay, so you've already given us so many good words, but is there any other encouragement that you would give to somebody who's on their health journey, thinking about is thinking about maybe going towards better health?
Yeah.
Anything that you would share with people?
Well, I would just encourage anyone who is on the fence to say yes. I was telling Jennifer earlier that I just finished a book called The Year of Yes, YEAR, Year of Yes, by Shonda Rhimes. And it really inspired me to say yes to some things that I've been saying no to. If you are thinking about starting this because you want to lose weight, great. You will lose weight. If you are thinking about starting this because you just want to feel better in your life, you will feel so much better. You will gain confidence. There are so many reasons to say yes to this program, and rely on the people in it. Don't pull yourself away. We tend to, especially during this crazy time of COVID, it's so easy to feel isolated and alone. But this community won't allow that, and in a really good way. Like, lean into the program and lean into the people, because those are the 2 ways that you'll find success.
I love that. I love it. Okay. So, being that you're my first Friday story, we'll have you back
Ooh.
again, I'm sure. But I have a little lightning round, 5 quick questions. Okay. So,
Okay. I'm ready.
Ready.
Yes.
Okay. Favorite fueling?
My favorite fueling right now is the oatmeal, the cinnamon oatmeal, maple oatmeal. I'm sorry, I forget the name, but it's the oatmeal, and I make it in the waffle iron, and I put 2 tablespoons of sugar-free syrup on it, and it's delicious.
I love it. I love that you said right now, because see, you're a 7, so you're gonna like move on to your next favorite eventually. But okay, so
Yeah.
favorite fueling. Okay, go to Lean and Green.
Ooh. We have the spaghetti squash lasagna a lot. My husband and I, we love it. It's really good.
Perfect. Coolest non-scale victory.
Coolest non-scale victory. I told you about my dress already. I think that's my coolest one. I've got my favorite dress that now fits me again.
I love it.
11 years later. It's
Okay.
probably out of style, and Jennifer, you can probably help me with that, but
No, it was adorable. It looked awesome. I love it. You guys all have to go to her Facebook and look at that. Okay. If you had to pick one adventure sport, would you do cliff diving, unicycle races, or goat yoga?
I'm going to say unicycle races.
Can you unicycle? Or you just think that sounds fun?
You know what? We actually have one. I cannot, but I can practice.
Okay, you got it. All right. What is your next health goal?
I'm training right now for a 5K. And so my 5K is at the end of May. So I will complete that. It's been, I don't know, 4 years since I've run a 5K. Very excited.
Awesome. That's so good. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
Super fun. Okay. Bye, Natalie.
Bye, Jen.